עושה שלום במרומיו, הוא יעשה שלום עלינו ועל כל ישראל ועל כל יושבי תבל, ואמרו, אמרו, אמן.
I was not a Zionist. I did not have a Jewish identity as I understand a Jewish identity today. I am from South Wales. I'm Welsh. Very proud to be Welsh, by the way. And I had a lot of problems in school. Kids used to call me a Christ killer, sometimes would spit at me, kick me. And when I was 11 years of age, the religious instruction teacher actually, she didn't ask, she demanded that I stand in front of the whole class and tell all the children why my family killed Christ. That's the sort of environment that I grew up in. When I was in my early teens, I was a champion golfer. I was junior champion in Wales, but I couldn't get membership in a golf club. They did not accept Jews into the golf clubs in those times. So when I was almost 16, I decided to leave Wales. I truly thought that it was a problem only in the area that I lived. Okay, that will show you how much I did not know, okay, in general terms. But I was terribly confused about all of this and why do these hate these, because my knowledge was minimal. I decided to leave Wales. I went to live in London. Excuse me if I get emotional, because it might have been a long time ago, but in many ways it's almost like yesterday. I went to London. I went to visit a friend who let me sleep on her floor whilst I was looking for a room to rent. And how did you look for a room to rent in those days? You went to the newsagent shops and they would have in the windows cards advertising a place to rent, a piece of furniture to sell, or what have you. And so I was going with a pen and a paper from place to place, taking down details of rooms for rent, and very often it said, room to rent, so much, furnished, unfurnished, no Jews, blacks or dogs need apply. And very often also no Irish. They didn't like the Irish too much either. And I got angrier and angrier. Eventually I did find somewhere that appealed to me. I could afford it. It was in a good place for where I wanted to live. And I went to look at the room. I phoned them. I asked them, is the room still available? And the man said yes. I went to see it, and it was what I wanted. And then he asked me, when would you like to move in? And I said, well, actually, as soon as possible. And he said, okay, Miss, and I said, Greenberg. And instantly it changed. And he said, oh, listen, we have lots of other people coming to see the room, I'll let you know. And I knew I would never hear from him. And that went on again and again and again. I eventually found somewhere to rent, I found work, and I belonged to a rather large group of young people that each and every one of them today would describe themselves in that period as being hippies or beatniks. That was also our... Then I got a job working for Manpower. Manpower is an agency where people take temporary jobs. If somebody has a secretary, she goes on holiday, they order, they get someone from Manpower to fill in for a few weeks. I basically decided to leave Britain after an incident at St Thomas's Hospital in London. And if you ever meet anybody from St Thomas's Hospital, they'll all deny that this happened. Okay. I started on the Monday morning as a typist from Manpower, coming for 2 weeks to work there. And the lady in charge was a woman probably in her 50s. She was the manageress of the typing pool. There were about 20 women, all sitting at desks and typing, and she was in charge. I came on the Monday morning, and she said, "Oh, you're from Manpower?" I said, "Yes." She did not ask me my name. And she took me to a desk, and she said, "This is where you'll sit. This is the work that needs typing. I'll call you when we have coffee break, tea break." Okay. So I started to type. Some of the ladies said good morning to me, but everybody was busy working. At 10 o'clock, a bell rang, and it was tea time. And everybody got up, and they went into a separate room where there were low seats and low tables, and there was a lady there serving tea. And the woman in charge called me, and she said, "Come, Manpower, come and have a cup of tea." So I went in and I sat down. Where I sat on the table, there was a newspaper. And she asked me, "Excuse me, can you pass me that newspaper?" As I picked the newspaper up to pass it to her, it opened. And I saw the headline was something to do with Israel the day before. There had been some fighting between Egypt and Israel, and it was the headline. And I passed it to her, and she looked at the headline, and then she said to all the women, "Girls, it's a shame Hitler didn't make soap out of all of them." And I jumped up, I turned around, and I asked her, "Why would you say something like that? What have you got against me?" And she said, "Are you a dirty Jew?" And I said, "No, I'm not a dirty Jew." But she turned her back on me and she left. And she left me with my back to all the women, and the silence was awful. I would put that as one of the most difficult moments of my life, and believe me, I've had many difficult moments in my life. But when I think of that time, I find myself freezing and thinking, I should have done this, I should have done that. But you know what? I was in my teens. I went to see the person in charge. None of the women said anything. Not even one of them said something like, "Would you like another cup of tea to break that silence, to help me?" Nothing. They got up, they went back to their desks, they continued working. I went to the person in charge of the administrative staff in St. Thomas's Hospital, and I told him that I was leaving, that he should call Manpower and ask for another girl. He asked me why, and I told him. And he said, "Young lady, you're not leaving, sit down." He said, "You and I have a great deal in common." I had absolutely no idea what I had in common with Dr. Shah from India. And he began to tell me how difficult it had been for him to rise in the ranks because he had been an immigrant doctor from India. And he said, "You're not leaving. You are staying. You're going back there, and you are going to stay there, and you are going to make them think about what happened." I stayed the week. Every day he came at 10 o'clock, went with me to drink tea. Nobody spoke to me for a week. And that, ladies and gentlemen, is why I chose to be involved in conflict resolution and to try and bring Jewish and Arab people together to meet, to encounter each other, and to see that basically we have so much in common. Whew. Sorry, but that is who I am.